Hey everybody, it's Eric from epautos.com, your libertarian car guy. Can you guess what I'm in this week? In case you can't, this is a 25 Toyota Sequoia. This one's the 1794 edition, which means that it's got the, let me see if I can pan it over here, the wood trim, it's got the massaging seats, it's got the upgraded leather. All of them have these touch screens now, the big one here, the smaller one here, about which you know already because if you've been listening to me talk about it. But the main thing is that the Sequoia is both different and the same as it ever was, and that it's the same in the sense that it's a big real deal SUV with real four-wheel drive and real four-wheel off-road capabilities. But it's also different in that it no longer comes standard with the V8 engine. You probably heard me talk about this trend. And, you know, while I'm sad about that, there are some objective upsides. The new turbo and hybrid augmented 3.4 liter V6 that's standard in this rig makes considerably more power than the old V8. The gas mileage difference is kind of negligible. It's about 5 miles per gallon overall. I mean, you know, what does that matter when you're talking about a vehicle that has a base price of $62,000, and you know, as you move up the trims, you get up to $80,000 and more. So if you're worried about a difference of 5 miles per gallon, there's kind of probably something wrong with your thinking mechanism there. On the other hand, you get 437 horsepower versus, what did the old one make? 381, if I'm remembering correctly. Also, the old one's max tow capacity was about, what was it, about 75 or 7,800 pounds, I believe. And now it's just shy of 9,000 pounds. So you get more power, more towing capacity, and that's definitely an upside. Now, you also get a higher price because, of course, the additional equipment adds to the bottom line cost of the vehicle. So it's not the V6, which is less engine, but it's the turbos and it's the hybrid side of the drivetrain that do add cost. And, you know, this is something I harp on all the time, complexity to the drivetrain, which may result, you know, this is just sort of a statistical thing. Generally speaking, the more complex a thing is, the more likely it is that something is going to fail at some point down the road. It's probably not going to be a consideration for you if you're leasing, or if you buy the vehicle with the idea that you're going to drive it for you know, 5 years or so and then trade into something else. On the other hand, if you're thinking about keeping it for, you know, 10, 15 years or even longer than that, and down the road the second person, third person who buys into it may need to deal with that. But this is purely speculative, I guess. We don't really know. The changeover from V8s to these much smaller V6 engines with turbos and hybrid and all of that is something that's only happened over the course of roughly the last 5 years. So these vehicles have not really been in circulation for long enough yet to accrue the mileage in real-world driving to determine whether you know, they are as or less reliable than the old V8s. But what we do know, particularly with regard to the Sequoia and Toyota products generally, is that their old V8 engine was just an anvil of an engine. It really was durable, reliable. It was really hard to hurt the thing. So, you know, in that sense, I'm very sad to see it go. And really, the only reason it is going, and again, if you've been listening to me, you already know why it is. It's, you know, it's not that, oh my gosh, we're going to improve the gas mileage by 5 miles per gallon. It's a compliance measure. You know, the federal government, particularly before Trump got into office, was continuing to kick up the mileage standards, and the mileage standards were inextricably linked with emission standards because they started to include carbon dioxide as an emission. And really, the only way that you can reduce carbon dioxide is by reducing the size of the engine, and also by turning the engine off as often as possible. So that's why engines have been getting smaller and why hybrids have been proliferating. Those two things are compliance technologies. It's a way for the vehicle manufacturers to deal with the conflicting demands of government on the one hand and buyers on the other hand. And I think they've done a pretty fair job of it. You know, they've managed not only to maintain, in most cases, the power levels of the older, bigger engines, they've generally increased them substantially. And so, yeah, you get a little mileage boost, but the main thing that people are going to like is that you get more power out of the drivetrain than you used to. Anyway, I'll have more about this Sequoia over at epautos.com. I've also just posted my interview the other day with David Knight, which you may be interested in, and we'll have the usual Wheels Up with Bill Meyer segment up later today or tomorrow, depending on how things go. So thanks as always for listening, and we will have more for you again soon.